Hey, y'all. Thanks for stopping by. So, we've got some silly news from our southern state that's not really a southern state, Florida. Their Surgeon General has announced plans to eliminate vaccine mandates across the state, even going so far as to say he doesn't have the right to say what your child should put into their body. And that's not just me putting words into someone's mouth either, if you want to listen to it yourself.
The Florida Department of Health, in partnership with the governor, is going to be working to end all vaccine mandates in Florida law. All of them. Every last one of them is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery. Who am I to tell you what your child should put in your body?
And it is all vaccines. It's not just the COVID vaccine or one of these scary new ones that somehow Republicans are equally afraid of but think Donald Trump deserves a Nobel Prize for creating. No, he's saying this is for all vaccine mandates across Florida, including polio, measles, rubella, whooping cough. Not just the scary mRNA ones that worms in his brain Kennedy has told you to be afraid of. That steroid abuser Joe Rogan has told you to be afraid of. The needles are fine as long as they're making your muscles big. And I'm sorry if I seem negative or angry at the people who are pushing forward these policies, because I am a person of mild intelligence and I know that vaccines work. And I know they work because if you just look at smallpox on the Wikipedia page, it says was. Smallpox, the disease that killed more people across the world than you can imagine, we eliminated with vaccines, or inoculations in some instances. Of course, back in the day, Washington just had sick troops walk through each other, so they could all get sick that way. You've dealt with inoculation vaccines before when it comes to chickenpox. I'm sure you had a chickenpox party when you were a kid. But if you didn't, that's how we do it in America. Before we had a chickenpox vaccine specifically, one kid would get sick somehow, and then all the parents in the neighborhood would host a party. Because if your kid gets sick with chickenpox, it's better than your teenager or your adult getting sick with chickenpox. You develop this natural immunity to it, and it protects you in the future. But of course, some diseases are more deadly than chickenpox. And recently, out of this sunshine state, Florida has a measles outbreak happening. You may have heard these springing up in the Southwest as well, especially in Texas, but Florida specifically, I want to focus on this one. There was a mother talking about her story. We can listen to it together now.
Found out last night that my son has been exposed to measles at daycare, so now he has to quarantine for 28 days. He's not allowed at the daycare. He's only 9 months old, so he does not have the vaccine. Babies do not typically get the measles vaccine until 1 year old. They do early vaccines, but we did not do that because we didn't know there was going to be a measles outbreak, obviously.
It should stand to note that while she's talking about she could have gotten her child vaccinated earlier, yes, most children won't get a measles vaccine until they're at least 1 year old. And I don't blame her for not rushing out to get this early shot when a normal parent, like it seems she is, would have done the responsible thing to get their child vaccinated when the age was appropriate. It's not normal parents who are the problem when it comes to these outbreaks, though.
So now we are on the way to the ER to get an immunoglobulin shot, just so that he potentially doesn't get measles, something like that. And then we're going to get the vaccine eventually, who knows, because there's a huge outbreak in my county right now. So they're being overrun with people wanting to get the vaccine and nobody can get it. And yeah, and this whole thing just started because a parent had it actually. So who knows about all the babies are going to get it in the daycare. And now the daycare is pretty much closed down.
Also very important to note here, it was a parent who got these babies sick. An unvaccinated adult exposed all of these children to this disease. Children who could not be protected through a medical mean and are now being forced to pay the price for your personal liberty. 2 points of note about this though. First thing, you're going to run into people when you talk about vaccines and vaccinating children who are just really stupid, like too dumb for their own good. Like this Jersey Red guy, real pinnacle of American individuality and bootstrap ideology. If your child is vaccinated, what risk does an unvaccinated child expose to them? It's not about your kid. It's about the well-being of everyone. And then going on to talk about mother's immunity protecting a baby when that's just patently not true. But this is the problem that you have, because these people's truth comes to them through podcast hosts or Substack articles written by men in bunkers and sheds lined with canned goods and ammo cans. But the second part about this, though, something I really need you to grasp for those of you who think you shouldn't vaccinate your kids, this is a daycare that this happened at, right? It's closed down for 28 days. One unvaccinated adult exposed all of these children to this disease, and now we have an outbreak happening. Florida receives most of their money from tourism. They've cut a lot of taxes down there to incentivize people spending money down there, but most of their money does come from tourism. Orlando's a big hotspot, Miami's a big hotspot. I want you to imagine an unvaccinated person goes to, say, Disney World. One unvaccinated adult around all of these people of different walks of life from different corners of the world, more than likely bringing their children to this place because, after all, it is Disney World. It's the most magical place on earth. And it doesn't have to be a guest of the park who's exposing these people. It could be a worker. It could be someone from Florida who's trying to make an honest living now that they're living in the unvaccinated wild west of the United States. And they got some kid sick at a gift shop or something like that. They pass it along and they pass it along, and I wouldn't be surprised if the next COVID variant ends up being the Mickey Mouse strain or Donald Duck diphtheria or something like that, because you are making your state a petri dish. Bugs Bunny had the right idea when he just took the saw directly to the border and cut y'all off, because that's what needs to happen eventually. Screw a wall on the southern border. We need it protecting Georgia from Florida. I would say I don't know where this is going, but more than likely what's about to happen is Florida is about to become disease-ridden and, frankly, just a scary place to live, or scarier than it already is. Hopefully before things get too bad down there, they can elect some adults to actually try and fix things, but I guess until the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse becomes the Mickey Mouse Quarantine Zone, y'all try to have a good day.